This is the Season Long Podcast in support of the YouTube channel Season Long Baller. Happy to have you with us. Thank you very much for joining me yesterday. We did a little impromptu live session and had a lot of fun just doing a little bit of shoot-arounds because right now for the Wizards, of course that was before the Celtics game yesterday, but for the Wizards, basically now we've got a week off. We'll explain that in just a moment as we are now going to kind of take our first look at how the playoff picture is shaping up. So first, let's take a look at the standings out east. Obviously, the Washington Wizards, we have clinched the 1 seed for quite a bit now. And you see we finished 10 games ahead of the Knicks and the Heat. The Knicks will take the 2 seed. The Heat are the 3 seed. The 76ers will take the 4 seed. The Pacers are your 5th. And the Cavaliers are your 6th seed, so that's your top 6 there, and those teams will not be in the play-in, obviously. And then taking a look at what we've got going in the play-in tournament, the Bulls, followed by the Celtics and the Raptors, so that's 7, 8, and 9. And remember, 7 versus 8, then 9 versus 10, and 10 is the Atlanta Hawks, who beat out the Milwaukee Bucks. So we'll talk about the playoffs and the play-in just a bit as you see the rest of the conference there. The Nets were 12, the Pistons 13, the Orlando Magic finishing 14th, which is a far cry from what they were in obviously what they've done in the real NBA this season, and the Hornets finishing with the worst record in the conference. So for the latter half of the season out west, the Lakers and Warriors were battling for that 1 and 2 slot. And as you see, the Lakers finished 2 games ahead of the Warriors, and that was despite the fact that Anthony Davis was compromised, as you know, coming down the stretch. He had the injury, was 4 to 6 weeks was I think it was a hip injury, but we faced the Lakers when he was compromised, and we got a victory over the Lakers here a couple of weeks ago. But the Lakers and the Warriors, for the latter half of the season, have been fighting for that slot. The Mavericks at one time were up there and had the 1 seed, but as you can see, and we'll talk about it just a bit, the Mavericks fell out of that position and basically cooled off, which is the exact opposite of the Mavericks in real life, who got their way out of the play-in and are looking like the 5 seed right now in the real NBA. The Grizzlies and the Timberwolves are 3 and 4. The Clippers are 5, and the Pelicans are 6. That rounds out your top 6. Now, I don't know why the Thunder have a X there as a playoff slot, because they're in the play-in. The top 6 obviously are the playoff teams, and the Thunder is just the highest ranked play-in team. So the Thunder will be the 7, and the Suns will be the 8. Now, the Timberwolves, of course, I'm worried about because they swept us during the season. And obviously, I'm a little worried about the Grizzlies. We split with the Grizzlies, but once they got Ja Morant back, which he is playing in our simulation, then obviously he was better. You see the Mavericks, the Grizzlies were better, but as you see, the Mavericks are the 10 seed, so they will be in the play-in. The Spurs are 11. The Kings are 12. The Jazz are 13. And then rounding out the final 2 teams is the Trailblazers and the Houston Rockets. So that will be your 15 and your standings out west. And now let's take a look at the playoff seeding a little bit more specifically. So taking a look at how all this playoff seeding now will play out, starting with the play-in games out west. So you've got the Thunder in the 7 position, as I mentioned. They'll be taking on the Phoenix Suns on Tuesday, who are playing in the 8th slot. And then Denver and Dallas is your 9 and 10 game, and that will take place on Wednesday. Now, obviously, the 8 seed, who is going to be, well, first of all, let's talk about the 7 seed. The 7 seed, whoever wins that 7-8 game, automatically is the 7 seed, and they will go ahead and advance. The loser of the 7-8 game then falls back to play on Friday, where they get a second chance to get into the playoffs, and they will take on the winner of the 9-10 game. The loser of the 9-10 game is eliminated. So the winner of the 7, as you see, will take on the Golden State Warriors. The winner of the game on Friday, which could be obviously any of those teams still remaining at this moment, they will take on the Lakers. And so as you see here, the Lakers are your 1 seed, Golden State is 2, Minnesota is your 4 seed, along with the Clippers as the 5 seed, and then you've got the Timberwolves and the Thunder, the Timberwolves and the Pelicans rounding out your playoff picture out west. Now in the East, The Bulls are the 7 seed. The Celtics are the 8 seed. And then 9 and 10 at Toronto and Atlanta. So again, same thing out east. Tuesday will be the 7-8 game. Wednesday will be the 9-10 game. And Friday's game will be the loser of the 7-8 game versus the winner of the 9-10 game. Loser of the 9-10 game on Wednesday is out. Now, we will do the Simcast Live, which was what we did last season on NBA 2K23, where it's pretty much a simulation. We'll kind of talk about it, kind of be a loose format, and we'll just talk about how the game is going along and see how the computer determines who the winners are going to be in this scenario. And last season it was pretty fun, as we had some really interesting stuff happen in these play-in games. And so we'll see what happens in this season. And again, on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, we will do those games, and we'll do the Simcast out east. We won't do the Simcast games out west. We'll just monitor the west and then set everything up for the playoffs, which I expect we will start seeing playoff games maybe into the weekend, maybe next week, probably at this time. We should definitely be into some playoff games. And then we will know who our opponent, as the Washington Wizards, we will know who our opponent is, and that will be a lot of fun. But let's take a look at the rest of the bracket. Again, Bulls and Celtics are 7 and 8, Toronto and Atlanta 9 and 10. The Wizards are the 1 seed, and as you can see as well, they will also be taking on the winner of the 4 and 5 seed, which is obviously Philadelphia against Indiana. Now, the Pacers have given us some trouble this season, but Philly, we haven't had as much trouble against Philly, but again, I'm not looking forward to that being an easy matchup. I think last season we may have had an easier matchup when we faced Cleveland. We faced Cleveland in the finals, and in the second round we faced Chicago, and we opened against Indiana last season on NBA 2K23, and that description, that playoff run, is in the link below in that playlist. As you see, the other side of the bracket, Miami and Cleveland are 3 and 6, 3 and 6 seeds, and then obviously the Knicks are the 2 seed, and they will be taking on that 7 seed that we mentioned just a little bit later on, just a little bit earlier on. So that's how it's going to play out this week. Should be a lot of fun. Join us for the play-in, the Simcast Live play-ins. Those are always, as I said, interesting. They were definitely interesting last season. And then we'll recap everything and kick off the proper playoffs right here on Season Long Baller. I hope you have had a wonderful time watching us today. Thank you very much. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. We will see you tomorrow for the first of the play-ins. Again, we won't cover the West, but we will cover the East, where Chicago hosts Boston. That's it for Season Long Baller. Peace.